Hello, everyone, and welcome to All Things Undone podcast. I am your host, Grannee. She is, and I am joined by. Go ahead, and introduce yourself. I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna let you do it this time.
How you guys doing? This is Jay Hawk, the co-host with the most, here with Granny. She is All Things Undone. It's a pleasure to bring the show to you today because we got a powerhouse for you. Are you ready?
We do. We do. Hold on just a minute. My air kicked on, and I'm gonna turn it off because it's kind of loud. 1 minute.
All right, good. So, guys, while Granny's gone, we're gonna be
I
talking
should
about.
say 1 second. I'm back.
Oh, there she's back now. So look,
My apartment's not that big, y'all. It's just right there.
just
That's
right
on
there.
here. But what we talk about on this show before we dive into it, because Jonathan and I had already started the conversation. We talk about life after divorce and how to move forward successfully, and we're expanding that beyond just living in your authentic selves. We're starting to incorporate other topics, and so we're growing and expanding our range. Our motto is we walk in love with God, ourselves, and others. I got to start remembering to say that, and also to say, please donate to the podcast at atupodcast.com/donate to help us grow our
Yes,
podcast and our audience. Okay. I got to start saying that every time. Also, this is on my regular Facebook page. So please like and share. And
please.
yeah, we started a conversation. We was getting into it. And I'm gonna tell you what led up to it. Last night on I Am Woe podcast, they talked about truth hurts. And I need everyone to go and listen to that podcast when you have a moment. It also reruns on BWNC radio. Wayne is going to put in the chat when that's going to rerun. But here's the thing we talked about was women and men too, but mostly women, how we say that men ain't shit. How, I've been through the last 3, 4, 5 relationships and my man cheated on me every single time. And if that is the case, what is the common denominator with
Well,
these guys? Because this is going to lead into what we're going to be talking about today, too. What is the common denominator of these same guys? You keep picking the same guys over and over and over with, and I just keep hearing all kind of noises. So I got to close one more door. Hold on.
okay. So,
There we go. Because my little house is little. I'm back.
quaint,
Quick fast. Yeah,
quaint.
so that was what we were talking about last night. And Wayne was saying he didn't even get to say all what he wanted to say last night, but he was asking the ladies, like, so what what constitutes woman, what constitutes you and these guys that you keep picking? What are you looking for? And what did you say about that common denominator?
Well, for me,
Jonathan.
that's what I was saying. Actually brought it down to when you uh, just want to let you know that when you are going through multiples and you're having the same issue, and it rears its head over and over and over again, it appears, and it's just to me, that you enter new relationships, but you are actually you're looking for someone to play the role of the last person who you haven't
Ooh,
gotten past. So you're
ooh,
auditioning people for the same roles, different faces, same role. Does that make sense?
that
So,
does. Oh shoot.
right.
Okay.
So in a nutshell, you have to change the script. Because if you're not changing the script, again, it's the same roles, different faces.
Mm-hmm.
It's a reboot. It's the same thing over and over, different faces.
Very true. I agree with that. And this is what I had to learn. Let me tell you something. Look, he said, let them use you, Jayhawk. Yes, I have to admit something myself. So, of course, I've been long past my divorce now. It'll be 4 years this July. So when I first started my dating journey back in like 2020, right when my divorce happened, I started attracting men who were separated but not yet divorced. They were going through the process of a divorce, but they weren't divorced. So the first time I, attracted a guy like this, he was a cool guy, real nice guy, but he was going through it because he didn't realize, but I realized pretty quickly that I was his rebound from that separation that had occurred a few
Mhm,
months prior.
mhm.
I recognized that I was the rebound because this guy started doing weird things like, and at the time I had a charger. I don't have my beloved charger anymore, but it had the darkest, it had illegal tint on that bad boy. You could not see in it.
Not the
So
illegal tent.
legal tint. And I got away with it for like 8 years. Amazingly. But here's the crazy part. He started doing weird stuff. Like when we would go out, he would find excuses to like drive past his ex's house or his estranged wife's house. Just
Mhm.
weird stuff, you know. And I was like, yeah, this here is not, this is not, this is not it. So I stopped talking to that guy. Met another guy. Guess what? This was had to be in 2021 or 2022, somewhere up in there, 2021, that 2020, 2021 era. I went through like three of these guys. Second guy, separated from his wife, going through a divorce. And every
Mm.
time we would get together, guess what he wanted to talk about?
Let me guess. His ex-wife.
His estranged wife. They were in the process of getting
Oh
a
yeah, his
divorce.
estranged. His
And I
soon to be.
had to say, soon to be ex-wife. And I said, I had to tell him, I'm not your therapist. I'm not your therapist, and I don't need to rehash what has happened with my ex because I've closed that door.
Mhm.
So I'm like, okay, that's number two guy. Wait a minute now. It's two in a row. What's up? You know, so the third time I stopped talking to that guy too, because clearly you need to go heal. You need to go and take care of that. I cannot be your rebound. I know you hear me. I think this was right when I started like All Things Undone, and I started to come out with that. This is when I started attracting these guys who were going through separations but not yet divorced. So the third one come through. Somebody I knew from my past, went to high school with. Same situation. I caught it that third time though, because like you said, we got to start doing something different. And so I just told him, you know, hey, thank you so much. I'm flattered that you want to take me out. However, just based on your story, based on your backstory and what you're currently going through, I'm going to have to respectfully decline. It's not that I'm not appreciative. It's not that I don't think you're cool. It's just that you're going through something right now, and I cannot be I can't be that that shoulder to lean on.
Yeah.
I just cannot be. And I'm sorry, but that's what it is. So then I noticed, I recognized that pattern because first of all, the first one, then the second one, now third one, I'm glad you all are getting to the point where you're healing. But
Mhm.
no, I'm not trauma bonding. That's what was happening.
Yep.
That's the word. It's a buzzword now, but it's the true word.
Yep.
We were trauma bonding with one another, and thank goodness, like with the first one, it did become very intimate. The second one, we did, but I was like, no. So that third one, it was just cut off. It was in the talking stage. I was like, no.
Right.
But I'm gonna tell you, ladies, something you got to be careful, and this is gonna bring us into what we're talking about today. I met a guy. I did online dating, the one and only time I decided to do online dating, and I have decided I'm gonna go back to organic dating. I don't know how long that's gonna take me to find someone organically dating, but shit, I'm doing it. I'm organically dating. Well, anyway, I
Smart.
met this guy online, and we started I guess you can call it a situationship because it was a connection. It was a pretty cool connection, but it wasn't going anywhere. It was a cool connection. We had good chemistry, you know, the sex wasn't bad. But then after 2 years of that, it's like, okay, we are spinning our wheels. So that's another thing women have to be mindful of, you know, how you start the relationship. 9 times out of 10, it probably won't change from how it started. So if you started out and you jumped into bed and it was a sexual connection from the beginning, 9 times out of 10, that won't change. I'm not saying in every case that's the case. I'm not saying that, ladies. Listen, I'm just saying 9 times out of 10, your jump off will not become your main, because that's what that relationship ended up being. And it was a relationship of sorts, but it ended up being more of a sexual connection than anything else. But
Mhm.
as I grow and evolve as a woman, that's not a position I could keep myself in.
Got it.
And so I had to establish some boundaries. And because I've been messing around with this person for 2 years, it's hard to keep those boundaries in place. So I had to do one of those rip the band-aids off. It's the same thing I did when I decided I was no longer going to be taking Adderall, right? We got a comment coming in. I had to quit cold turkey. So
Mhm.
Wayne said, people want to move on to the next relationship and having dealt with all of their issues from the past. Very true. Then
Mhm.
when past triggers come up in your new one, you want to blame the person instead of owning your unhealed trauma. Preach
Mhm. Mhm.
truth. therapy or deal with your trauma and triggers before you start something new. Thank you. And that
That's
was the advice I
only
gave.
fair for the next person. I want to bring something up.
Go
So
ahead.
I may have misspoke earlier because I know we had spoken about this. We talked before the show, and I was saying, it really is what you attract. Change your perfume, ladies, fellas. Change your cologne,
Right.
because you're attracting the same thing over. But I want to actually refine that a little bit because you're gonna attract who you're gonna attract, right? So
Right.
you have to change your filter. You have to change the filter of what you allow in to be next to you. See, the filter that we have, like if you have a coffee filter or whatever, or any other filter, it only allows in to get close to you what you want to be in your
Mhm.
space. So even though you're attracting, if you haven't changed your filter and those same type people keep getting next to you and you're accepting them, it's because you
Right.
hadn't changed. You're not blocking, you're not doing what you just said you did, keeping the other people at bay and only letting in those that you want to be close to you. Because you're an attractive person, you're an attractive being. And the
Yeah.
energy sometimes we have is attractive to a lot of different people. But
Very true.
it's but you choose to allow who you want to share space with to be close to you.
Very true. I like that example of filtering. So at
Mhm.
first I thought filter like on Instagram, but then I thought, no, Cheryl, think coffee filter. Now think about this. When we are drinking coffee in the morning, we'll use that filter to make a pot.
Mhm.
But we don't usually use that. Now, some people do use the same wet grinds to make more coffee, which I think is ick. That says something about that person. But
Here's a
nine times
spot.
out of 10, what are we going to do? We're going to change out the filter. We're going to completely
Mhm.
clean it. We're going to completely start over to make a fresh pot of coffee. And that's literally how we need to start viewing new connections. Make sure you have cleaned out that whatever that thought process was from the other person. Wayne says, change the pool of people you select from. Very true. You
True
can't
too.
keep going back to the same selection pool expecting different results. You
That's
never
true.
heard birds of a feather flock together.
Mhm.
Very true. You got to switch it up. And it's hard. I'm going to tell you from my own personal experience, it's hard. I went from like that set of guys. Then I met this one guy. And I'm going to be honest with you. Something that Wayne talked about on the show last night was owning your reality, not necessarily owning your truth, because sometimes we live in delusion and illusion. So we won't live in our reality, what's actually happening. So
Mhm.
in my own case, I can only use myself as an example. In this last connection that I was in, there were red flags there. Like he was literally showing me from the jump that he wasn't willing to take our connection any further than what it had gone, which was a sexual connection. Let's just be honest.
Mhm.
Okay, he wasn't willing to take it past that. And it didn't matter if I had feelings for him or he had feelings for me. He had other options and I had other options. I chose to focus on that one person, even though that one person was just my situationship, my cuddle buddy, or whatever you want to call him. He
Manna.
on the yeah, he was my
Throwing the
manna,
Bible
right?
verse in a Bible.
Yeah.
It's
We'll throw,
manna.
we'll throw, we'll throw a Bible verse in there. He was my manna. Most
Mhm.
definitely, he had
Exactly.
became my manna because I got filled up on his energy, on his vibe, and everything else that went with that. And I was Gucci. I was good with that. But then something changed in me. I wanted more than what this man was willing to give. And
Mhm.
this is what we do as women. We feel like because we want more, that we can do more, show more to make this guy want what we want. And that's the part we have to be honest with ourselves. You can't do that. You have to acknowledge that, okay, this is what it is and this is where it is. The choice is on you now. Do I keep on in this same path with this same relationship, knowing I want more, knowing this guy is not probably going to give me more? Do I cut it off and start over? What do I do? I made the decision just based on the pattern of behavior that I was beginning to see to cut it off. Because why continue something that I'm not uh, fulfilled in? Yeah, I love this person. I said love. OMG, it must be true because I said it out of my mouth. I'm not going to retract it and I'm not going to change what the fuck I just said. I said what I said. But here's the thing. I am logical enough to know this needs to be cut off if this is not going to go any further than what it is. And so I made that decision to cut it off. And this is what I did, ladies, just in case you want to take notes, just in case you're in a situation yourself and you want to be out of it because it's not growing, it's not going anywhere. I blocked the number and then I deleted the number. And I didn't do it for that person. I did it for me so that I don't have a weak moment and turn around and text this person again. Not only did I do that, I went on all social media that I know we follow each other on and blocked it. Not for that person, but for myself so that I don't have a weak moment and go back and try to text or message. Because in my head, once I say I'm done, I'm done. I don't care what my heart says. Logically, ladies, we got to start thinking this is not good for me. It's not good for my growth, especially when you start to elevate. And I know I'm Jonathan, I'm gonna let you jump in here in a minute. Let me get this thought out. And Wayne said having a type can also be your downfall. Maybe your type is your biggest problem. Very true. Oh my goodness, very true. Because that was the thing. This guy that I connected with, he was my type. Um, he was tall, he was handsome, he was good looking, he had money, like all the things that I like, you know. But here's the thing, because I'm looking at that part of it and not necessarily the internal part, I missed the bigger picture.
Mm,
I
got
missed the bigger picture of what was important. I'm at a point now where I think I do want to start moving towards maybe more of a relationship and less of a situationship. But I'm still working on me. So I'm in this limbo where yeah, I want somebody. I don't want to rush into it, but I also want to be hugged sometime at night. And then sometimes I don't want to be bothered. So that's me, right? I have nothing to do with the other guy. I can't put all the blame on that other person because I recognize in me some shit I need to work on. So I can't put it all on him. I really can't. I gotta own my
it.
own part. So he didn't
Um,
want to move forward, but then I have to sit down and talk to myself. Did you really want to? Did I really want to?
so are you at this point now to where you're reevaluating what your
Mm.
leading man in your series is going to look like? What role are you going to, what are the qualifications for the person to fill that role are you going to look for?
See, that's the part I'm still working out as
Okay.
all things undone unfold because this is so new for me. Oh my God, this is so new for me. Think about it. I was in a relationship for 25 years. I didn't have to worry about this. I didn't have to worry about, okay, these people don't match me. Now what? But now I'm in this part where I'm growing. I'm setting boundaries, which is the next thing. We're about to get into this. I'm setting boundaries.
Mm,
And the person that I want to talk to probably is setting his own set of boundaries. I had a date. I've been going on dates, really fun dates. I have been having a good time going on dates.
good.
Well,
That's good.
that's really good. I went on a date with this one guy and we were talking and he was saying the same thing. Like he had got out of a relationship in like 2019.
Mm,
And so he's been single ever since. But he was like, here's the thing. You get out those relationships and you know what you don't want anymore. You know what you don't want. You
mm,
know kind of what you want, but at the same time, because you've set this new set of standards for yourself, it's kind of hard moving past, okay, what do we do now? Because I have my standards and you have your standards. Now, how do we talk through this? How do we move through this space? So he was saying, I'm still trying to figure that part out. He was like, all we can do is like go off each other's energy and vibe and be honest and open and move from there. He said, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm in a space where I'm still, processing what happened. And so I'm not moving into another relationship until I figure that part out. And I was like, oh, same. I'm right here with you, same. And he was like, even navigating as we was talking about last night on Wayne's podcast, should I text you? When should I text you? I haven't heard from you in a week. Should I reach out? I'm the girl. Should I be chasing him? I don't think it's a chase. If you hadn't heard from that person in a week and you want to check on them, women, we should be able to reach out and be like, hey dude, I ain't heard from you in a week. I hope all is well. And if they hit you back with yeah, all is well, then that's all we can do is leave it there.
mm-hmm.
um
In the text with proof of life.
Proof of
Are you
life.
still
Yeah.
breathing? What's going on?
Right. Are you still alive?
You're
What is
still
going
alive.
on? That part.
What are we sending a ransom?
Okay, and ladies, please drop in the chat your experiences because this is just me, and Jonathan is probably gonna have to serve as part therapist tonight, talking with me because as all things undone evolves, these are the things I want to talk about for sure. Um,
Boundaries. There's so many
and then I love,
boundaries that
yeah, we have to
good
set those
boundaries
boundaries.
create great relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just intimate relationships, friendships.
So we're going to talk about boundaries because I do have a sheet up on a sheet. I have a link, list of links up at All Things Undone podcast. No, excuse me, atupodcast.com/resources. And it has links on there for how to set healthy boundaries because 9 times out of 10, we don't even know where to start when it comes to that. So setting before we even set healthy relationship boundaries, I'm learning to set personal boundaries in my
You know,
life, not just within relationships, but with family, with
hmm
friends,
hmm
with co-workers. And we don't even extend it to co-workers and associates at work. But
hmm
even in that, even in me doing my job, it's certain things that I'm learning to say no to. Okay, especially if it falls way out the parameter of what I'm being paid to do, especially if I'm overwhelmed with all the tasks I already have to do. I have to go to my managers and say, hey, I got X, Y, and Z going on, and then you also asked me to do this extra thing you asked me to do. I'm currently working through 6 weeks of onboarding. I'm the only onboarding person, HR person for the company I work for. I'm hiring for the next 6 weeks.
So I have a
I
question.
can't. I don't have nothing else on my. I don't have the bandwidth. So we have to start setting those boundaries. Go ahead. I'm listening.
So what if I'm a people pleaser? What if that's just who I am? And then I'm about to step on some toes.
Come
Right?
on, people, please, but speak
People,
up in the chat.
I'm a people pleaser, and I just hate to say no because then people don't like me anymore, or my sense of worth, I wear it outwardly, and I need validation from people in order to feel whole or liked. And I can't say no. I'm a people pleaser. So,
Oh,
ugh, what about those people? They have trouble setting boundaries. Their boundaries is very porous because they still allow things to come in, even though they've said this is where, as far as you can go. Okay, you can come a little bit closer up. Okay, up for you, yeah, you can. I
yeah. Flexible boundaries. They have flexible boundaries.
it's like rubber bands, it keeps coming in, right? So,
This is what I noticed though. Sometimes those people who are people pleasers don't even recognize that they're people pleasers.
hmm
They just think that is part of their character and they're a giving person and they just give and give and give
hmm
because that's how they've always been. And then that's when I had to do that. I had to take a step back and ask myself, why do I feel the need to say yes every single time? Even when I'm tired, I'm exhausted, I'm overextended, I have too many things on my plate. Why am I still saying yes? And
hmm
why do I need the validation? And I don't know if it's getting older or if it's just that after going through the transition of being married and then divorced and now single, and just to see all the people who did not support me, how I had come to bat for them so many times, that changed my perspective on
wow.
overextending myself
So
because
people,
I learned a very valuable lesson that you can pour until you're empty. You can bend and bend and bend until you break. And some of those same people will not do the same for you. I'm not saying being loving, but I learned a long time ago from Miss Cynthia Anderson, God rest her soul. Her husband was Fletcher Anderson. He was a deacon for defense. And she taught me a long time ago. She said, you need to learn how to say no. No is a complete sentence. She said, you overextend yourself way too much. And this is when I was a first lady. And as
and
first ladies and people in the church, you rarely say no because you don't want to be seen as the bad guy. You don't want to be seen as, the ice queen or whatever. So you find yourself saying yes more than no. And I had to learn to set some boundaries. And here I am unlearning certain patterns of behavior at this big old age that I am and relearning, reparenting in some ways. Because y'all know, think about all you people pleasers. When we were little, could we tell our parents no? Could you
no,
tell your parents no? What would happen if you told your parents no when you were a child?
nothing good.
Nothing good. You're gonna get put on punishment. You're gonna get your butt beat. And if you told an elder in the church no, or auntie or an uncle no, then you were said to be disrespectful. You were being disrespectful.
Mm-hmm.
So think about where that comes from with us. I'm being disrespectful because I said no. As a child, children know when their boundaries are being tested and they know what makes them feel uncomfortable. The only time a child is going to say no is when they don't feel safe, when they feel uncomfortable. So when we beat our children and spank our kids and put them on punishment for saying no, Deb Maynard, me and her talked about this, Deb Booth, sorry, when she
Deb,
came on, Deborah Booth, she's a sex
okay.
education facilitator. Allow your children to say no. It's teaching them to set those necessary boundaries. We were not taught that, and now we are people pleasers. So I'm gonna read a little bit of what I have out on the All Things Undone atupodcast.com/resources page. What is a boundary? You know, it's that emotional and physical space between you and another person.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. And we often forget about that emotional space. There was a song back in the day called Back Up and Give Me 50 Feet. You remember that one?
Yep. Bag up. Give me 50. Yep.
Yeah.
Back
Right.
from
We
me.
need to back up from me a little bit. Let's see what else does it say because I'm trying to pull out the definitions that aren't too convoluted. It says a limit or a line over which you will not allow anyone to cross because of the negative impact of its being crossed in the past. So that's setting a boundary. Okay. Something
Mm-hmm.
happened here. So now I got to set a boundary. Hold on just a minute. Let me check my chat. Oh, there. Quit. No. I don't know if you can see that, but there we go. We'll put that up there. So yeah, that's a boundary. What else is a boundary? Because we need to talk about it. So you all will know for yourselves, especially for the ones of you that probably won't go out on the site and actually get this. But I hope y'all download this because we got some other stuff to talk about on top of boundaries. But I want to stay here for just a minute. It's
Boundaries are how you allow people to talk to you,
mm-hmm,
right?
very
How
true.
you allow people to how you allow people to handle you. As we say, you know,
Mm-hmm.
be careful how you handle me because
That's right.
it might not bode well for you. Be careful how you treat me.
That's
So
right.
it's that. It's
That's a song too, isn't it? Be careful what you say to me.
mm-hmm.
Something I forgot the words to it. If y'all know, I gotta find that song. But you're right. It's how you treat me. It's how
It's
you
crazy.
handle me. And then the
So
more you're go ahead, Jonathan.
so I know we were taught uh, the golden rule. What the golden rule was actually, do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
True.
I want to improve. I know. So the Bible thumpers are gonna be like, "Oh, he's changing the Bible," but I'm gonna improve on that a little bit.
Come
Okay,
on.
treat people how they want to be treated,
Say it
not
again.
how you would like to be treated. Treat people how they would like it to be treated.
Oh my goodness. Say it one more time.
Treat people how they would like to be treated.
Oh, let's think about that one for a minute. Treat people how they would like to be treated. So
Mhm.
some people would say, so you're asking me to return the same energy, be on the same. If they're on that energy, I need to be on that energy. Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying is, you know what? If this person wants to feel safe, treat them in a safe manner.
Love it.
If
Love it.
if this person uh, um, needs space, treat them with that space. Treat people how they want to be treated.
Oh, I
Don't
love
do
that.
unto others as you would have them done unto you, because what you want and what that person wants might be completely different. Instead,
Oh my goodness.
treat a person how they would want to be treated.
Oh, I love that. I have a friend girl named Aya, and for those of you who pray for my friend Aya. She had some trouble, some health wise, and she's getting better. And she has an art gallery in Bogalusa. And Aya is like one of my spiritual friends. Like she's part of my soul tribe. We don't talk all the time, but every time we do, it's that connection is
Mm,
there. And we were having a conversation one time, and she said, I was like, people are not. Um, what was the scripture? It's what you just said. People are not. loving themselves. As it says, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. That's the golden
Right.
rule.
That's the golden rule.
And she was like, she was like, Cheryl, people are doing unto others as they would have them do unto them, because people aren't walking in love anymore. They hate themselves.
Mm.
And because they hate themselves, they are treating
Mm.
everyone else the way they think they should be treating, because they don't know their worth. Big ups
Mm.
to that's a
I,
word right
I,
there. Word. Right. She said that. She said people are not loving themselves. They don't know their worth.
that's
They
true.
don't know to love themselves. They hate
True.
themselves. So because they hate themselves, they treat you poorly, because they treat themselves poorly. And they don't recognize it, that they treat themselves poorly. They don't recognize themselves because unfortunately they're not themselves. One of my favorite lines from Alice in Wonderland: I'm not myself, you see. So she couldn't figure out which way to go. We're like that as adults until we get to a point where we begin to heal.
Yep.
And people say, "Oh, they throw that's the buzzword. They throw that around too much." I'm gonna tell you, let's repurpose the word heal. Let's say we're relearning and reparenting ourselves.
That's true.
That's
That's true.
all healing is. You're relearning, you're reparenting, you're programming your brain to think differently than what it has been conditioned and
Hmm.
institutionalized to think.
True. And
That's
also, and
yeah.
also from bumps and bruises that you may have sustained,
Uh-huh.
you're getting up, you're putting some antiseptic on that, right?
Uh-huh.
And you're learning to move in a different direction, right? So,
Very true.
you are going to ride that bike. You're going to learn how to ride it where you're not falling off and
Oh
scraping
my
your knee.
goodness.
And so you're going to avoid some of those pitfalls so you're not thrown off your bike and you scrape your knee and your elbow again.
I know. Dang. You ever reopened a wound, like you had a knee, like you on the bike and you fall down and you scrape your knee, and then next week it's healing, it's scabbed over, and you're out
I,
there
w-
riding the bike again and you fall and you hit that same goddamn knee. Oh my God. It's
I
even
wish
more painful the second time. Like
I
that's
wish I
how it
could
is in
say
relationships. Go ahead.
there is on this arm, and I'm not gonna
Mhm.
show you because it's gonna be ugly. There's a couple scars here. Oh,
Okay.
um, a tree limb fell on me, and as I was lifting it off, curling it off to put it on the side of
Mhm.
the road in Brookhaven, Mississippi. That's the
Mhm.
world revolves around Brookhaven, Mississippi. My bicep snapped and rolled up to my shoulder.
Oh.
So, um, having to have the surgery in order to actually uh, take that bicep from my shoulder, bring it down, attach the tendon that I folded over under my arm, having a
Mhm.
nut that's actually here, and threading that tendon through and making it
Oh
stronger.
my God.
It it was
Take it. I feel that.
right. So now,
Oh.
faced with how do I curl again? How do
Mm.
I get back to the weight room and curl? And which way do I and can I curl? So I had to learn to use the muscle over again, but then there was
Mm.
fear. It was fear. So um, I thought I'd do it safely. After an injury, that's
Mm.
us. After we get injured, loving people, because people are messy. How do we hop back on here? How do we create the boundaries again in order for us to feel love, feel acceptance, have fulfillment, to have relationships with people we want to have relationships with while we're here on this earth. And so I think this is what if we're talking about today about how
Mhm.
do we set these boundaries so that when we have injured ourselves and we do need to heal, we do need some antiseptic and we do need to relearn how to use that muscle. We did redefine how we can lift so we don't injure ourselves. And how do we love people so we don't injure
Mm.
ourselves?
Right. The first step, put that comment back up for a minute, Wayne, that you just had up here. This is the first thing. It says that's what happens when people go back to their ex. We were talking about getting on the bike,
Mm,
getting it, like what he was just talking about, falling off again and getting rescabbed. It hurts worse the second time. And try to convince themselves this time will be different. That's what happens when people go
mhm.
back to their ex and try to convince themselves that this time it will be different.
Stay off that road. We're riding your
Stay
bike.
off of it. That's
That
not the
road is
road.
good.
Because
That
think
road is
about it. People romanticize the good times, but they forget about the bad times. Trust me, if you go back on that road, the same potholes are still there, the same dips are still there. That road is not fixed. Leave it alone. It wasn't for you. That's the hardest lesson. I just put a caption up on Facebook on my Facebook page that said about letting your exes go. Let me read that because I don't want to misquote it. Somebody in the back of the church need to hear this one. Hold on.
it's a
Let me.
reason they're your ex. It's a reason.
Yeah, it's the reason I said this. You
Reason
have
why.
let your right. Think
Baby
about
mama,
it. You
baby daddy,
baby mama, baby. Those
baby
are the
daddy
worst ones. Oh
are
my God.
are
Those are
are
the ones.
ex.
Well, this is what it said. It says you have to let your exes go so they can find women or men on their level. It
Mhm.
wasn't fair to have them trying to reach a capacity they weren't capable of reaching.
Yep.
So
Yep.
anytime you think about going back to your ex, they didn't reach that level the first time.
Yep.
Don't think you're gonna reach back and drag. No, you're just putting another ball and chain on your leg. They're not meant for you. And that's the hardest lesson. Our hearts get attached. We're so in love. We feel so deeply. We're connected energetically. We're vibing
Mm,
sometimes. Because sometimes a vibe can be misleading, especially if the
yeah.
sex is good. All y'all do is argue outside the bedroom, and all you got in common is the sex.
Mm.
That's not a good bond
Not a
at
good
all.
dynamic. That's not a good dynamic. That's
Mm-mm.
dysfunctional at
Very.
best. Dysfunctional.
Oh
So
my goodness.
so what does healthy boundaries look like to every person?
Oh, good. I'm glad you asked. I have some. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, healthy boundaries. This is the first thing, and this is on cmhacacy.org, and I have it on. It's in the chat. atupodcast.com/resources. It says good and decent people set boundaries. It says establishing boundaries makes you a safe person. People know where they stand with you. Boundaries are the way we take care of ourselves. We have both a right and a duty to protect and defend ourselves. And
That's right.
I find myself gravitating towards people who I feel safe with. Okay, to everyone watching, please feel free to jump in the comments and comment or ask questions. And they are. Let me give my comment section a shout out before I go any further. Let me give y'all a shout out to Shalmet and Adrian, um, who are also commenting, to my cousin Shamar Powell. What's up, Pop? They're all coming in the chat. Corey, what's going on? So everyone's talking about it. Adrian says this only twist to that golden rule is what counts is how we treat others, not how they treat us. Very true. It's how we treat others. And Jonathan just said that.
Hmm.
And it's cool if you're really in tune with yourself, you will start to notice and recognize how another person is asking you through their actions to treat them, you
Right.
know. And even though people come at you defensively, they're literally telling you, treat me with care, I'm fragile.
That's true. And I did
You
something
have
this
people who come, yeah, that's
I
what
did
I
something
get
this
from.
morning that was it made me think. So so my son is very
Mhm.
tenderhearted. He really is. He's 9. And so before school I used my dad's voice and I yelled at him this morning before he went to school. And it hurt his little heart so badly that he came to me before school and he had tears in his eyes and he was trying
Oh.
to plead his case. And
Mhm.
it and he just wanted to talk to me about why I used the big voice. Why did I yell? And how it hurt his
Oh.
feelings. And before school we had a conversation about how it made him feel. And he expressed himself. And so I had to kind of sit down and talk with him. And so we agreed until I found out where I was actually wrong. And I apologized, and he accepted my apology before actually going to school. So at 9 years old,
Love
I
that.
was 9. That wouldn't have happened in my household growing up,
Not at all.
because whatever
Mm,
the adult said was right. Didn't
right.
how you felt. They were right. And
Mm,
so reparenting me, right? Rehealing
mhm.
me is listening to my 9-year-old son when he says, "What you said to me hurt me.
Amen.
How do we let's talk about this."
Hmm.
And being able to move forward at 9.
Oh my goodness. It reminds me of my nephew Honor, who has these really, really big, deep conversations with my brother and his mother. Um, Shout out to Bryce Media, by the way, and Talamika, who is an award winning producer and director. She has 2 out so far, 2 documentaries. 5 is the first one based on her experience as mother. Man, the conversations that he pulls out of them and how they encourage their children to be open, to express themselves in such a way. And it's not mean, it's like your son, very sensitive, very calm.
Mm-hmm.
And when he's talking to him. Now I learned that with my youngest daughter. My other 2 children had a much different experience because they had a much different version of me as their mother. Oh, ouch.
And
Uh,
we grow through it, right? And we grow
oh
through it.
my
And so
God, yeah. What's up,
this is
Anthony?
this is yeah, because my other kids didn't get this version of me.
Oh yeah. I'm telling you, it's life. The older we get, you learn more, you grow more, you do grow. So let's talk, you do more. Let's go back to these boundaries that we were talking about. Generous people set boundaries. It
Okay.
says if you don't set boundaries, you are giving yourself away. Generous people set boundaries. What's up, Ross? With boundaries, you only give what you want, which means you can afford to be generous to more people over a longer period of time.
Mm, I
And
like
I'm
that.
learning that.
I'm
I'm
like,
learning that too. I could give more of myself when I know what my line is, when I know where the line in the sand is for me, when I know what the boundary is, I can give more of myself, not as in overextending myself, but just in general, in with my kindness, with my generosity and sharing my love with someone else. And I don't
mm-hmm.
mean love as in romantic love. I mean the type of love that God speaks about when he talks about that pure love we give one another because we're human. It's the human connection, right? It's just the basis of being humanity, or whatever you want to call it. I'm more generous with that. Boundaries allow others to grow, even if they don't like it. Even if you don't like it, it forces us to grow because it forces us, as Wayne said, the ones who of us that don't want to acknowledge the problem, because it makes others conscious of their behavior, thus allowing them to change.
Mm,
Right. Pure love. That's what I'm talking about. Pure
mm,
love.
copy.
So boundaries allow others to grow. It really does. Because when you set a boundary with a person, they know they have a decision to make.
Yep.
They can do one of 2 things. They can accept the boundary that you put in place,
Yep.
or they can buck against it, which only hurts them
Yep.
because they need to acknowledge their faults. And if they can't, they just play victim. That has nothing to do with you. This is the thing I've learned in my life. I can't take it personal. He said where because I don't see it no more. Okay, message me, Ross. That's a personal conversation we need to have, you and I. If you can't see it, I'm gonna coach you through it. But we don't have time to like go off that far off the rails today. But yeah, boundaries allow others to grow, whether you
Yep.
like it or not. It does. It allows them to grow. Set your boundary. And a lot of ladies, this let me talk to my ladies for a minute. What we'll do is set a boundary and then we'll walk it back.
Flexible boundaries.
Flexible boundaries, especially in relationships with people that we love or that we like. We'll set a boundary and we'll walk it back, or we'll allow them to cross that boundary. And we
Mm,
have to learn to stand firm in our word because if you allow a person to, and this doesn't matter if it's relationship or friendship, if you allow a person to continuously bulldoze your boundaries, it doesn't make them have more respect for you as a person.
they have less respect for you.
They have less respect for you because they say, well, she's just a doormat. She's going to do whatever, or he'll do whatever. No,
E-
don't be anybody's doormat. Boundaries are need a hard setting, right?
Right.
It's one of my favorite words I learned from the Christian Grace series. He had a hard limit. Period. There were
Mm-hmm.
hard limits. You did
Mm-hmm.
not cross the hard limits, or you were cut out. Like, period. These are my hard limits. And they weren't, well, in the book, it was kind of toxic, but I like the premise of having a hard limit with people so they can know this is as far as you can go with me. Like
Yep.
with women, I can't let a man play box with me. That's one thing I don't do in a relationship. Don't play hit me because I came from the hood. Don't play hit me. If it don't do that, because I'm
Mm-mm.
gonna take it serious every single time. Because I feel like you trying to test my boundaries by play hitting me to see if one day you can mess around and hit me for real. And the answer is hell fucking no. Don't play fight with me.
No.
That's just that for me. No, that's a red flag off the top.
And no wrestling with you?
And which ain't no wrestling with me, not unless we like full on naked and there's some stuff going on. That's a different story. We're not talking about sexual proclivities right now. Because y'all know hey, that's another conversation for another day.
Uh, as Granny has said before, I know how y'all like to tussle in the comments. So
Mhm. Tussling in the bedroom, that's a different kind of tussle now. Wait a minute. Okay. That's a different kind of tussle. That's not what
tussle.
I'm talking about. But yeah. What
So
else we
hard
got in here?
boundaries. So hard boundaries. How hard boundaries also take away access to you from people who may not deserve access
Deserve
anymore.
it.
People
Amen.
who don't
They
deserve
don't
access.
deserve it. So this is what we're gonna do right quick. Um, we're gonna take a break because we are at break time and we got a couple announcements we need to make. One about the Hub City sneaker ball that's coming up, and then when we come back, we're gonna talk a little bit more about boundaries. We do have the resources up, but I want to switch gears and talk about online dating next. Okay, take us to the commercials.
Uh,
All right, you guys, you saw the lineup for the I Am Woe Media Group. Please catch us on BWNC Radio. That's Black with No Chaser Radio. No Chasers Radio. It is Black owned for everybody. Come for the podcast, say for the music. This show right here will be airing live tomorrow on BWNC Radio at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9:30 Central Standard Time. And if you happen to be on the West Coast, 7:30 on the West Coast. Is that PST time? So that's the first announcement. The second one is this: catch us at the Hub City Sneaker Ball. Wayne is going to drop the link in the chat. The access code is I Am Woe Media Group, I believe. Y'all come join us. Tickets are still available. VIP is sold out, but we do have premium tickets available and we do have general admission available. The I Am Woke Media Group will be there, including me, Wayne, Dylan's Dive Bar, She's Talking Tea,
I
I Am
can't wait
Woke
to y'all one day.
podcast, and it's going to be live. We're going to have an amazing time. It's going to be this Saturday coming May the 4th, right before May 5th. Cinco de
May the
Mayo.
force be
Yes,
with you.
May the
May
4th
the force
be
be with you.
cool beans. And I do want to highlight this comment from Corey Bryce. What's up? Shout out to my cuz.
What's up,
And
Corey?
he says, as you elevate yourself, you elevate everything connected to you. Whoever you end up with will be lucky. Because that's the
All
whole
right.
point. We elevate, and he just dropped the links in the chat on the I am Woe page. Let me copy it because I'm gonna pop it over into I have two
Facebook.
chats going by the way. So yeah, I'm gonna put it over. I can't do it. It won't let me do it. That's okay for my regular Facebook viewers on my regular page. I'm gonna pop it in. We'll put the link up after the show. We'll put the link up after the show. So we're talking about boundaries. And the reason I wanted to talk about boundaries first is because we need to learn to set them. And I'm not going to go over everything on the page because I put a couple links up for you guys to not only for boundaries for personal growth, but boundaries in your relationship. Because we got to
Mm-hmm.
start setting,
Yep.
circling all the way back to the beginning of our conversation. We were talking about when we keep attracting the same kind of people, whether we want it or not. We keep attracting the same kind, the same kind, the same kind. And this is for men too, because I know men who attract the same kind of women, just like women who attract a certain kind of man. Sometimes men are looking for a certain particular kind of woman, and they keep getting,
Mm-hmm.
uh, they keep getting handled, they keep getting played.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
So it's
You
both
changed your
sides.
filter. You changed your filter. And then they had to probably do some self-reflection, like,
Hmm.
okay, where am I going wrong? Uh, who do I need to be to attract that kind of person?
Right.
What are some of my, where am I coming up short?
Mm.
I mean, I mean, like I really want, uh, I really want a Beyonce, but I keep attracting a sexy red. What's wrong? What's going on?
Oh my
Is
goodness.
sexy red the best I
Oh,
can do?
this,
Okay.
this man says sexy red. That's when you have to take a good hard look at yourself. Like whether people want to admit that or
What's
not, you
this?
literally got to start looking at yourself and saying, okay, hold on. As I peeped that game quick. Like, wait a minute, Cheryl. Like you keep pulling the same kind of people. What's
Hmm.
up? What's really going on? And I was like, okay, wait. Oh my God. Okay. I need to
Hmm.
work on me.
So
You don't
now
even
we're
have
going
to
into
uh,
so now are we going into online dating now?
we are. So look, y'all check out the boundaries. I'm clicking too many buttons.
Oh yeah,
Y'all
go ahead.
check out the again, I'm gonna keep saying it all throughout the show because I want y'all to go check this out. And that is atpodcast.com/resources and download this link, these links right here. So boundaries, it talks about setting personal boundaries and setting boundaries in relationships. And the reason I want to start there is because 9 times out of 10, all of us have experienced or will experience or at some point meet someone online. And it's so important to know
Yep.
the safety behind meeting someone online. Go ahead,
Mm.
Jonathan.
Well, you got to have filters there too, right? So I know there's a
Oh my
filter
God,
that
yeah.
you meet people online. How do male or female? You need to check one of those, whichever you want, if that's your thing. People,
Oh my
um,
goodness.
uh, you know, black or white, this, that, and the third. So those are filters, right? So you got to have those
Mhm.
filters. Online, I've done some online dating before in the past.
Have you had to go for you?
I mean, it was a real deal relationship. I should have left that alone though. It was a reason why that girl was online.
Well, I've tried dating online and I ran into a scammer who was trying to sell me Bitcoin. Ross, I don't even know what to say to that. I'm done with Ross right now. So listen, I tried online dating. I ran into a scammer who was trying to sell me Bitcoin off like right off the
Mm,
rip. He tried to sell me Bitcoin. I met a really nice fellow who really needed a lot of external validation, a lot of
Mm,
emotional validation. And me with my Capricorn self, I'm not the one. You can't, I'm sorry. You got to come already secure and validated. If you don't come already secure and validated, I'm gonna hurt your feelings more. I'm just not that person. I cannot. So it taught me people are online looking for things that they need to fix within themselves.
well,
Don't come
it's a
to me.
it's
I'm gonna hurt your
it's a
feelings.
lot of broken people out there that need. I mean, it's so I I'm gonna say this for the
Hmm.
single people that's dating. I don't know how y'all do it right now because it's some shit in the dating
It's
pool,
hard out
right?
here.
And so you got to sift through that. It's some shit out there, guys. So, um, but that's not to deter you if you are single and you're looking. It's just to know that the finding the prize of the right of someone that is worthy of your time and attention and your resources, and
Mhm.
sharing those resources, time, and attention is worth the battle. But just know that there's going to be a challenge.
It is. And here's some tips
It's
I want
also
to.
going to
I
be a
want to.
challenge to grow
What?
together and not grow apart.
That's true. That's when you find the one. This is the
Yeah.
crazy part. So this is what I learned with online dating. When
Oh,
someone tries
it's
to
Riv.
push you,
Riviera's in the house.
what's up, Riviera? I'm glad you joined. But this is what I learned.
Riviera
That's my
and
daughter. That's my
Daniel.
firstborn, by the way. What's up, Riviera? This is what I learned from online dating. Don't let anyone rush you past the chat that's set up in that protected space of that particular dating app. Because you'll have some men
Hmm.
that'll be like, "Give me your phone number," because I don't check this app often. Ladies, if you're not
Hmm.
comfortable giving your phone number out that early, you remain in the chat that's provided by the dating app because that's a safe space. It protects your, for the most part, protects your information unless it's hacked. Another story for another day. We're
Mm.
going to talk about it in a little bit. So Wayne says, but
Hacking.
people aren't honest about who is the shit in the dating pool, nor whether they actually left shit in the pool themselves. Thank you. And
Hmm.
people do. So this is why
Yep.
it's so important to make sure you're vetting those people while you're in said dating app before you give them your number, your personal cell phone number. Continue that conversation in the app and start asking some valid questions. If they're asking you every day, what are you doing? I've learned to switch it up and ask different questions. Um,
Hmm.
what are you doing? And so I'll switch it up and ask something like, um,
Hey,
you
what book are you
know,
reading right now?
what book are you
You
reading
know,
right now?
what
Yeah.
book, right?
And I'm
What,
I'm a big time movie. So I'll
what's
ask
the
that
last?
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what was the last awesome movie or the last must see movie you saw?
Hmm. You see,
If you
I'm
had to
big
see
on
it again, what you did? I
yeah,
mean,
what
just
would you
I'm just throwing things
what
out.
would you look at? Yeah, that kind of stuff. Like, are you a Stephen King's fan? Do you read
Hmm.
much? Like, just different questions to kind of get the conversation going. And
If they're
if
into
they
true
couldn't give
crime, you better watch them, folks. Folks
true
who
crime,
love
I
true
love Stephen
crime.
King.
Uh,
Absolute favorite. I'm not really
uh,
big on true crime though. But yeah, people have to be honest. You're right. It's a lot of people that are not honest with themselves, and that's the biggest problem. Wayne said, but people aren't honest about who is the shit in the dating pool, nor whether they actually left shit in the pool themselves. That's because people
mhm.
aren't honest with themselves. They're not honest with themselves, so how can they be honest with you? And that is what I'm learning as I'm dating and meeting people. And this is the other thing I'm starting to learn is, can you keep eye contact with me when we actually do meet?
Mm.
You know, can you keep
Now,
eye contact? Can you keep the conversation going? But on that dating site, on that online app dating site, you have to be careful because some of those profiles are fake, and you got to try to vet that person to see if they're real. And also
that's
go
true.
online. I learned something from Risa Tisa. I'll tell you something I learned from Risa Tisa. Now, she might have learned the
Research.
lesson after the fact, but she learned it. She had to, her being in that relationship with what she called him Legion,
Legion. Legion.
taught her to really start doing background checks. Now, I have a friend girl that's been doing this for years on dating apps. She has a subscription to one of those background check things. And anytime she meets somebody online, she checks to see if they have, a criminal record or anything
Mhm.
like that. She literally does her homework on the
Mhm.
people, especially if they're not someone who has a social media following, because everyone's not on social media.
Mhm.
So it's good
Smart.
to kind of, yeah, to kind of look at their backgrounds. And I learned that from Risa Tisa that it's a good. idea to background check people. There's
That's
nothing
good.
wrong with that. And that's for women.
Uh,
That's for men and women. Y'all better start back check because there's some women out here that'll scam the shit out you. You
Look,
know.
it's sorry, guys.
You all right?
It's yeah. I had to clear my throat for a moment. Online dating is so important that you keep your identity and your information
Mhm.
safe.
Right.
I knew an attorney who fell for it was I know we've all been approached by somebody who the Nigerian prince who has
Mhm.
$1 million locked up in his account and he needs you and your bank account in order to free his money. I mean, that's probably one of the old schools, right? So
Oh my God. No,
and they
it's a
go on
tip
simple
today.
ones.
Oh no,
And
it's
a
still a
lawyer,
thing today.
it is very much still a thing today, and there are
Mhm.
people who get taken still every day, and it's sometimes through the online dating apps where they think they know this person is somebody who's lonely and looking for a connection,
Mhm.
and you have scammers who are there
Mhm.
praying, trying to find a way in
Right.
to your computer and wiping you out, especially because we've gotten so lazy and we keep our cards and things on our computer. If you have a Mac, guess what? I believe they can get to your, if you have a way that you can link your phone and your Mac together, which you do,
Mhm.
and you have your payment cards stored, and they take control and replace your authentications. They can wipe your bank account out.
It's very
Simple.
possible. I mean, you got to be careful
Very
with
simple.
that, and it's happening. Tinder swindler was only a few years ago, and
Oh
I don't care
yeah,
what kind of
yeah.
sad sex story. I don't care how much of a sad story they give you, especially women. I don't care how sad of a story he gives you. I do not care
Mm-hmm.
if his mama died, his sister died, and his baby died on top of that. I do not care. If he asks
Women are
you for any
nurturers.
money, you just no, block them immediately. They are scamming you. They are scamming you. They are scamming you. I don't care how great they make that sob story sound. They're playing on your heartstrings, okay, on your naivety, on the fact that because he's paying you, all these companies, oh, you beautiful queen, your men, your no one in your country pay you attention, you are a beautiful woman, you a big beautiful woman, I love you. They pay you all these compliments and you think, oh girl, he loves me. No, he just know if he butter you up enough, he may lower your defenses enough to get into your personal accounts to get your
Mm-hmm.
money. Don't fall
Yep.
for it, ladies. Do not fall for it. Especially that's one of the main tips on this online dating tips. Do not fall for it. Don't respond to requests for financial help. Don't fall for the stories.
Mm-hmm.
Don't give their personal information. And I've noticed on TikTok and Instagram in particular, there are a lot of false accounts, and they'll look like military men, and they'll have a page set up with all these military men, like there are all the pictures of them in the military. And come to find out, if you go look at the dates, they posted those pictures within a week. Like all of those pictures are posted like within a week. And
Mm-hmm.
there, that's not even their profile. You can do a reverse photo lookup now, and it will tell you if that person is, if that's a fake account. So I got all
Mm-hmm.
this at atupodcast.com/resources. And here's the thing with online dating. I can't remember if it was you, Jonathan, that shared the story with me, or if it was Wayne, about a young 19-year-old in New Iberia, Louisiana, who met a guy online. They were texting back and forth. All the stuff where she left her location with her parents. They knew she was going out with this guy that she had been talking to online for a little while. Well, she came up missing. They reported her missing. They showed the last place she was, who she was with, his dating profile. She was found, her body was found in like a nearby river. He had
Mm.
murdered her. Now, they did arrest him without incident, and
That
he just got
sounds eerily
so.
familiar with there was a young black young lady. She was very attractive, and there was a white guy
Mhm.
that she had met online. And is that the same story? Was it an
It was a
interracial?
white guy. Yeah, it was that
Yeah.
story.
Mhm. Yep. Yep, and so he's being arraigned right now, and so no, it's a trial because the mother spoke and she how passionate she was speaking about, like asking him, "How could you have done this to my baby?" And the real
Right.
question from this is just the one he got caught with. How many
Mm-hmm.
others?
How many others?
How many others? Because I mean, let's face it, there are some black women that go. How many black women go missing that don't get reported? How many
Oh
black
my
women that go
goodness.
missing that stories don't make the news. So
Literally every few seconds of the day on Black with No Chasers Instagram page. We were talking about Black with No Chaser Radio, BWNC Radio, on their actual
mhm,
Instagram and Facebook pages. They have been highlighting missing Black people, missing Black women and men
mhm,
continuously now for the past couple of
mhm.
weeks. They've been highlighting this because they're
And
not
trans women,
reporting.
yeah,
Yeah,
and trans women.
and
So
trans
that's
women. And
and
trans
trans
women
women.
too, they are not reporting this, and Black people are coming up missing every few seconds, not even every few minutes in the United States, every few
That's
seconds.
what that's what Jeffrey Dahmer was really.
Mhm.
That's how he was. That's why he was preying on people of color,
Right.
men of color, little
Hmm.
boys of color, because
Right.
he figured that the community didn't care for them, and he
Right.
was right for the most part.
He
It
was.
wasn't until one of them got away, right? So
Very true.
there's that.
Very true. I remember one almost got away. What's up, Renika? Thank you for joining. And for everyone that joined, if I missed your name, I'm sorry. Thank you all for joining. Shalmet, Adrian, Corey, Anthony, Riviera, Renikia. What about on my other
Ross,
page?
the
Ross.
biggest boss,
Um,
Ross.
we have a couple. I have two of these going at the same time, you guys. So if from I Am World Media Group, we have people joining over there. Thank you all for joining from I Am World Media Group. Also, All Things
Marcus,
Undone. So wherever you're joining us from, thank you. Thank you.
thank you for coming in. Thank
Drop some
you.
emojis in the chat so we'll know you're there. Share it. Do all that good stuff.
Can they hit hearts?
Yeah.
Yeah, hit these hearts.
Yeah, hit them
Hit those
hearts.
hearts
Put them
for us.
in there. What's up, Marcus? That's right. Y'all drop some hearts and some likes and all that good stuff in the chat. So we'll know you're here. It helps our algorithm and share it. Like
Mm,
and share and like all that good stuff. Yeah, but be careful out here. I worry about my girls all the time when
hmm
well, Dejana not so much because Dejana's married. So
hmm
she's off the market. But and we have my oldest daughter and my youngest daughter. Now my youngest daughter is not online dating right now because she's in a relationship. My
hmm
oldest daughter is. And so, of course, we're telling her to take every precaution. We all have that's the other reason I kept Apple so that we could share our locations. I know it's an app you can download. What is the name of the app? Oh
Share
my
my
goodness.
location or something like that. I forgot the name of
My
it on
daughter
Apple.
sent me the name of my youngest daughter sent me the name of the other day. It's Share Space or it's something where they can keep in contact with each other. But listen, ladies, especially ladies, when you are out dating, make sure that your location is on. Not only is my location shared with my daughters, I have a friend guy, Bogalusa. I'm gonna shout him out. Drew Moses. I love him. I want to get him on the show. My location is shared with Drew anytime I leave this house by myself. So
Got
he'll
it.
know. And of course, I text Jonathan, I text
Hmm.
Wayne. People
Yep.
know if I'm on, because I'm single, I'm on the road by myself. I need people to know where I'm at all times. I'm calling, I'm texting. So people know Life 360. Thank you, Marcus and Riviera. It's called
Cool.
Life 360. And I need to put that on my page somewhere because that's important. It needs to be pinned. He says they let
Yeah.
you know everything, even when your friend's phone is dying.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That will let
That's
you
good.
know that.
Thank you for
It's
that.
called Life
I need to get that for
360.
my daughters. I need to check into that for my daughters.
Mhm.
So
I'm
online
putting
dating.
something in the
So
chat. Yeah, go ahead.
so check this out, y'all. So I have a shooting coach, right? I have a trainer.
Hmm.
Shout out to Body Bio Tactical, right? He's frat.
Oh, wow.
And so, uh, if you're in the Dallas Fort Worth Metroplex area or whatever, but he actually travels, so he goes to Louisiana, different other places. He and his
Okay.
wife, they have a training, but they actually train with firearms.
Mhm.
So, um, I got the wife. Yeah, bought her a weapon and I helped her to get trained on it. Through them, I paid for her training. And then I've been working on my skills with with different
Right.
weapons that I have. And so one of the something that he actually told us was that he they had a client who came to them after a situation happened. She was online dating, and the guy found out where she lived, and he started stalking her.
Oh my God.
And so she had a weapon. She had a 22. He broke in the house. She emptied the 22 into him, emptied the mag into him,
Mm.
and he bled into her mouth while he raped her.
Oh Lord, that's, oh my God, that is terrible.
The point of the story is that 22 for her and women was not enough to really knock an intruder down. And so she was actually going, she's actually go well, she had to go through a court case because when the cops came, he lied and
Mhm.
said that he was her boyfriend and that this was domestic violence, and she shot him because he was cheating on her. And that's why, and it was consensual. And so
Oh
she
my
was going
goodness,
through
pulled
a
the lie
court.
right out his ass. Mm.
He did, because that's how they think. And
Mm.
so she was going through a whole court case
Mm.
where she was about to lose her freedom, or her freedom was actually in jeopardy even after she had been raped.
That is
So
terrible.
so they took her, as a client, and on after that, trained her with a different weapons, 9 millimeter and above, in order, in
Hmm.
different weaponry, in order to, if an intruder comes into your space, you need to be able to knock them down.
Right.
And a 22 just isn't gonna work a lot of times. I mean, you can, but that's a iffy. You hit them with a 9 millimeter, so, and not, but I'm not gonna. We're not here to talk about, because we might not be monetized if we do this. But um,
Just protect
sorry,
yourselves. Definitely, it's
protect
definitely
yourself.
we're
Mhm.
we're definitely going to get training, my daughters and I, and we're not training with a 22. Just know that.
No,
We
not
gonna
training
we
with
train
22.
that's gonna put somebody on their ass. We're not coming to play with
That's
you.
right.
Okay? We're
And
not
that's a
coming to
part of
play
online dating awareness. Not
with
when you're
you.
posting your pictures and things that's on there. Be careful of the
Hmm.
landmarks that are around you. Be careful of the, of what people may pick up to know. Oh, she or he lives in that particular area, where I
Right.
can drive around and possibly see a glimpse to find out. And now you have a stalker. So
Right. Now, which brings
online
us to our
dating awareness.
very next subject, which is stalkers. Online
Oh,
dating awareness. We got one more topic, and it's about stalkers, because 9 times out of 10 you'll think, well, no one's stalking me. Like, who would do that? Who would stalk me? And again, we have some resources, atupodcast.com/resources. This is the most latest and recent one up. Please get this, ladies and men, because men get stalkers too. It's
mm-hmm,
not just relegated to women. Men are stalked too. Okay, stalkers are
mm-hmm.
real. And there's some things y'all need to know about stalkers. So I'm just going to go to the website. One of the ones I pulled up is stalkingawareness.org. And again, you don't need to memorize that. And it says, if you aren't sure where to start when it comes to stalkers, or you feel like you have a stalker, Victim Connect, DV Hotline, and Rainin. And I have those linked to that resource for you guys. So make sure you're checking that out. But here's some things, and they got everything on here: training modules, all kinds of stuff to help you on your journey. Because here's the thing: stalking is, people can stalk you in different ways, and I had to learn this. People can stalk you through your phone,
Mm-hmm.
um, through GPS devices that you may not even know are attached to your car. I'm gonna tell y'all this story
Mm-hmm.
about, and praise God, she is all right. She's actually my coworker, but she recently went on a date with a guy back in March.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. He seemed nice for all intents and purposes. He seemed like a wonderful guy. He took her out. They had very expensive tequila shots and a beautiful night. She sent me pictures of her and this young man, and he kept trying to go out on a second date with her. And for some reason, she said she just wasn't feeling his vibe. She wasn't feeling his vibe. She eventually blocked him. This man was arrested on April the 22nd. Now, mind you, she went out with him on like March the 8th or something. And I remember because she sent me the picture. She was sending me the entire conversation the whole time. Because again, when we go out, we want to make sure we're communicating with our friends. So she kept in
Mm-hmm.
contact. So long story short, we were doing our work on April 22nd, and again, I'm in the middle of a hiring blitz, like, so I'm busy working. So all of a sudden she's sitting over there and she just started saying, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God." And I thought somebody died. So I stopped for a minute. I was like, what is going on? Because it sounds like something serious just happened. She said, "You remember
Somebody
that
did
guy?"
die.
She said, "Somebody did die." She said, "That man beat his wife to death with a hammer." He's a strange wife, by the way. They had been separated for a year. And he had staged it as a burglary, as a break in, a home invasion.
Mm,
But they tracked it back to him. This man, the reason they were able to track it back to him, because he put a tracking device on her car. He had been following
mm,
her every move. And unfortunately for her, she was still staying in the home that they had once shared on his family's property. So he still had
mm.
access to the house. And he went in there and he bludgeoned her to death with a hammer. And one of their daughters discovered her body.
That is horrible.
And what's really crazy is when they released the pictures of the wife, my friend closely resembles the strange wife.
He had a
And
type. He
he
was
had a type.
auditioning someone else for a
He had
role.
a type. And I said, "Girl, she said, "Oh, thank you, God, for the whisper of your voice in my ear." Because something was telling her, go with your gut, ladies, and with men too. Go with your gut. She said something was
Mhm.
telling her, it's just what it was, something there that just wasn't quite right. She just wasn't vibing with him. And he was arrested on April the 22nd in Tangipahoa Parish. Is so unbelievable. I said, "Girl, imagine if you'd have went on the second date with this guy the week he was trying
That
to go on
might
a
have been
date
the
with her.
last date she ever went on.
It might have been the
It
last
might
date
have
she
been.
ever saw." So
Mhm.
you really got to be careful out. And she met him on Match.com. So
I had to recently go to
stalking
my
is
daughter's.
real.
I had to
Hmm.
recently go to my daughter's apartment because there was a guy that's been following her, and we
Hmm.
called the cops. Never even came. Dallas police never even came, but Daddy
That's
came,
crazy.
and Daddy had some backup, but Daddy came, and the guy was gone. But he actually came. He had been following her. He actually came to her door late at night, and tried to gain
Mm-hmm.
entrance to
Mm-hmm.
her front door and her side door, and she was terrified.
I bet.
So, that's the ongoing saga as is going on right now. But stalking is real, people. It's real, and it's. I mean, you never know what that person is going through. They may even look sane. They may look
Yeah,
like,
they do look
but
sane. They look normal, like regular
mhm,
people. That man looks
yep,
normal that went out with my friend. But
mhm,
here's the thing, things to watch out for. If you get someone who's repeatedly calling your phone, including hangups, follows you or shows up wherever you are just unexpectedly, that's stalking.
mhm, mhm,
Sending unwanted gifts, letters, texts, or emails. And don't fall for that. They automatically send you a Cash App gift when you know you're not talking to this person anymore. Don't
mhm,
fall for the okie. That is a form of stalking. Damages your home, car, or other property. You already know that's
mhm,
going on. And be
mhm.
careful. Monitors your phone calls or computer use, possibly through spyware. I use something called let me tell y'all the name of it. This app that I use to um, to keep my stuff secure. I can't believe I forgot the name of it because it's been on here forever. Did I remove it? Because I got a new phone. Why didn't the app come up? I'll be that blasted. What do they call those? What is it called when it helps you block like unwanted spyware, anti spyware?
Yeah,
What it is?
anti.
Anti spyware. You could put some of that on your it's from Troy Point. I'm about to look it up because I want y'all to know what this is. It's really good. It cost me $30, $40 every 3 months. So it's not expensive or anything like that. It's on Troy Point because I use Troy Point to break my Amazon Fire Stick. They have a lot of good tools at troypoint.com. I'm gonna put that up for y'all. on TroyPoint.com. And what is this? They offer I'm trying to think of the name of it. It would not come right up for me. That blasted.
Sorry, we
That
can circle back around to it. We can circle
circle
back
back
around
around.
to it.
Well, anyway, I'll put
Yeah.
that up there for you guys. So just to keep your stuff safe, because
Yep.
people can definitely can spy on you, and
Yep.
you won't even
And
know it, and it's
sometimes
scary.
stalkers are not just because they're interested in you. Maybe they're interested in what you may have or the access that you may have. So,
Yeah, people are
guys,
weird. Like,
particularly, we sometimes, guys, we are so lax with our information. So I'm going to tell you a story is really dated. So this is something
okay, good. Go ahead.
that happened some time ago. So this is when we were
Okay.
still when I was still writing checks.
Hmm.
And so I remember I was having a conversation with another brother of mine. We were checking out of Walmart, and I wrote a check for some items. On that check, it had my telephone number, I think my address or whatever on the check and my name.
Hmm.
The young lady, I received a phone call a day or so later from the young lady who was checking us out. She had taken information off my check and called me to go out. What do you do? Because now she has my she has my address, she has my telephone number, she knew exactly where I stayed, and she wanted to prove to me that good women do still exist. Because my boy and I, we were chopping it up about relationships, right? We were like, hey, ain't no good women out there. Same
She
thing
didn't
you
know
wouldn't
she
do
was
about us,
crazy.
huh?
She didn't know she was crazy.
She didn't know,
She didn't know.
and so I turned her down gently because I'm thinking like I don't know where this woman's coming from, but she knows exactly where I live. She knows my
Mhm.
telephone number. So I'm like, so now I'm thinking like, what else is gonna go on? And for a while, that was a real fear for me. I'm like, that woman is crazy. She took my
She didn't know
information
she
off
was
my
crazy.
check.
There's no telling where she
She
got it
thought,
from. Might have been working
no, she got it
somewhere.
from the check. I know because she told me she got it from the check.
I mean, but where
The
was she
check I gave
working
her.
at? Like, you gave
Oh,
her
she
a
was at
check.
Walmart. No, no, she was the cashier at Walmart.
Yeah, that's illegal. She wasn't supposed to do that. When I used to
Not
work
at
at a
all.
call center, we had a guy do that. He took a woman's phone number off of her account and he called her after work. He said her voice was sexy. We fired him as soon as that lady called in with that complaint. He was gone. You can't do that. Instead, you got to change her phone number because one of our employees and called you because she thought your voice was sexy. And people think that's
Mm.
not crazy. That is batshit crazy.
That is the
No, that's
height of
not normal
craziness.
behavior.
That
You
is the
can't.
height.
Oh my God. I'm so glad that we don't write checks like we used to because we used to have all
I
personal
know.
information out there. We had big phone books with all your information in it,
Hmm.
pages and
That was
pages and
then.
pages of information in there. Not
Now
today.
people, now
Shoot.
people are trying to swipe your information. You know, by any means necessary. But Sari, but in stalking, you got to keep
Hmm.
yourself safe. Don't
Be
always
vigilant.
go the same way home. Check when you're driving. Check to see. Kind of
Mhm.
glances. Make sure the same. You're not seeing the same car following you
Right.
every day. Um,
Check your surroundings for sure, ladies, when you go out. I mean, a lot of times we don't pay attention, but I think I've learned since I am out here single that I always check my surroundings. I have talked to my landlord to no end because our outside light keeps going out. So we have to go out there with flashlights at night because it's so dark. Um, so it causes me not to go out. My neighbors across from me, they put in a light that automatically comes on now when we go out and come back in. It
mhm.
just it's some females that stay across, and then it's me, and then my neighbors downstairs. So thank goodness for my neighbor downstairs, even though they sometimes get on my absolute nerves because that's one of those things where they don't have no boundaries set. But that's another story for another day. I will say this for my downstairs neighbor: he is diligent when it comes to who's at our building, and he's one of those that he'll pop up 2, 3 in the morning. You don't know when he about to come outside and see what's the what. He's that
Yep.
person. You know,
Good.
if he wakes up at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, he feel like he need to go sit outside for a minute. He gonna go sit outside for a minute, and then he's random. You can't set your clock by this one. So I love that. I said thank you God for putting me in a space where I know, hey, my neighbor's right there. I had an incident with my past car. Crazy shit. Car was paid for, and Capital One still came and tried to repossess my car. And my neighbor was downstairs, and he said, I saw that tow truck come up, baby. He was beating on my door. He was calling me. He went out there with his gun, and the man said, wait, we don't want no
No
we don't know
smoking.
because my neighbor was ready. Okay. He was ready. He was like, and what y'all doing here? So I did get my car back. It was just a crazy it was just a crazy mix up with the paperwork.
Mm.
Crazy. But we got that situation all worked out. But he was there.
Capital
He was
One
like,
almost got.
yeah, Capital One almost got sued, is what Capital One got almost got. Like, go get y'all life
Almost got
together.
somebody capped.
They almost got somebody to clean up out of here. And he was ready. He was ready. And I appreciate that. So he do got some antics with him, but when it comes to like making sure this building straight, because his children are downstairs.
Mm. Yeah.
And I know that's his
Yes.
first priority above all others.
Exactly.
Kids are in this house. So he's not letting nobody come mess with.
It's
We
good.
had one guy at one point, so they really did want to know
What,
what's in your
what was in your wallet?
true
Why'd I
story.
hear that? Why'd I hear that in Samuel L. Jackson's voice? You know.
What's in your wallet? All right, we're coming up on an hour and 30 minutes. We talked about some interesting things tonight, some very life-changing, very important things to keep yourself safe. First of all, set your boundaries. Set
Yep.
them not only for yourself, but in your relationships. Online dating, a lot of us are going that route. I have decided that I'm not going to do that route. I'm going organic. I don't know how long it's going to take to meet someone organically, but I'm down for the ride. I'm down for the ride. I'm done with meeting people online. That's not my shtick. It's not. I met that one guy and ended up stuck in a situationship that wasn't going nowhere. I don't have enough years left in my life for that kind of bullshit. I don't.
You know what?
I
That's
don't have
actually
enough.
pretty good because with the way AI is going, you
Mhm.
would be talking to somebody who doesn't sound the same exactly the same way. Uh,
Right.
and that can be used. Of course, Drake used Pac and Snoop Dogg voice in
Mhm.
AI on his latest album, on his latest song, this track, which is crazy,
And
right?
I
So
think Chris
you don't.
Brown used it on Quavo with the voicemail. I don't think that was really Quavo on that voicemail.
I want to fight you, Chris. Okay,
I
but
want to fight you.
come to fight. But I mean, but so who are we talking to, right? So
Mhm.
organic is best.
I think
Organic
so.
is best. You can have a when your profile pic is AI, when your voice is AI.
Hmm.
It's time. I think we've kind of moved. We're so far into the digital, you know,
Very much so.
isolation digital that we're craving for some original contact. We're
Hmm.
we're missing that. That's old school connection. I think a lot of us
Hmm.
are really missing that because we've gotten so far over into the digital age. And I think what you're doing is actually is it's hands off the best way
Yeah.
to approach it is authentic old school.
Yeah.
How does your energy make me feel when I talk to you and
That part.
vice
And
versa?
we can't
Because
read that. You can't read that in a text message. You can't read that
nope,
in an online dating app. There's no
nope,
emotion conveyed in those messages. I mean, I need to see you face to face, eye to eye. And, let's have this connection. If we connect, great. And if we don't, great. Either way, that's the route I'm choosing to go. Now, for those of you who do online dating, please go on that website and follow those tips and those guidelines. Also, ladies, if you don't have your own security system, it's cheap to get a ring. It's cheap to get any of those devices that you can set up yourself to do
mm-hmm,
your own security. They have Simply Safe, they have Ring, they have a few others
mm-hmm,
out there. I strongly suggest you put something in place if you
yep,
don't already have something in place. So that would be me. Thank you, Wayne, for popping at atupodcast.com/resources. Please go download it, share it with your friends. Also
yep,
go to https://hcs, that's sneakerball, hcsneakerball.com/tickets on sale now. We will have that link available for you. That ball is this Saturday. Cinco de Mayo is Sunday right after. Hey, I know I'm
Mm.
gonna have to cut. So thank you all for joining us. We're up at an hour and 30 minutes now, and we're not gonna go over that because I have been going full tilt since 6 o'clock this morning. It is time to shut it down. You all have a beautifully blessed day, beautifully blessed
Thank
week.
y'all so much.
Resources. I don't know if we're going to be live next week because we've literally done 3 lives in a row. So
Hmm.
our next show may be a pre-record, but we'll keep you all posted on that. God bless you all. We'll talk to you all later. We're out. Deuces. Good night.